Well, it's fantastic to have offered all care home residents the vaccination. Do you know what the take-up is?
So this is really, really important news. It's fantastic to have some good news after the hard year that care homes have had with the virus. As we've seen from the NHS announcement, over 10,000 care homes for older people have been visited to offer the vaccine to those residents and also the staff at those care homes. The Health Secretary is going to be giving further information later today about this achievement, and also we expect figures to be published on Thursday, which is the routine vaccination.
OK, because there was a report just about a week ago by the PA News Agency which said up to a fifth of staff in some care home groups have refused the vaccine. It would be an issue, wouldn't it, if that percentage of staff working in care homes were not given protection against the virus and whatever limited reduction in transmission or infectiousness it might convey.
You're right, Susanna. It's really important. We really want to vaccinate the staff as well as care home residents. Many, many staff have been vaccinated. And something we're seeing is as the rollout goes through, more staff taking up the vaccine. If they see colleagues getting vaccinated, they feel much more reassured about it.
Have you established why a fifth of staff are refusing, according to this report, to take the vaccine?
There are some people who have concerns about taking the vaccine, who've seen information that makes them worry about it. But as I was just saying, I was talking to a home care worker who gives care to people in their own homes just last week. Lovely lady called Bemi, and she was talking about how she was able to encourage her colleagues to get vaccinated when they saw her getting vaccinated.
Can you see a point where you might insist that it is a condition of being in a care home that staff are vaccinated in order to protect everyone in that care home?
Well, at the moment, what we want to do is really support people to get vaccinated. So we want to make it as easy as possible so they can be vaccinated in the care home or go to a nearby hub or go to the GP to get vaccinated, make sure they have the information about the vaccine, know that it's safe, so colleagues get vaccinated. We're supporting care providers to get their staff vaccinated, to give information in turn.
But you're not going to make it mandatory?
Well, I'd say at the moment, something I hear the most effective thing for care workers to be confident to get the vaccination is when they see colleagues getting it. So it's that word of mouth, it's seeing others do it. That's the thing that seems to be working best at the moment to give them the confidence.
Minister, the Health Minister and Prime Minister have regularly assured us that a protective ring, a shield, was put round our care homes. Can you just tell me, to date, how many residents of care homes in this country have died from COVID-19, and how many social care workers have died from COVID-19?
It's truly, truly sad that we have seen just over 23,000 residents of care homes, and we have had around 400 social care workers.
23,000? According to the ONS, as of January the 15th, it's more than 30,000.
Well, the figures I have on the CQC measured deaths of people with COVID or care home residents is just over 23,000 over that period. But I won't shy away from it.
And how many social care workers have died?
As I said, just over 400 have been reported to me. Who are
469. So I simply put it to you that when the Health Secretary and Prime Minister keep claiming that they put a protective ring around our care homes, that is just a complete lie, isn't it? Because if they had, you wouldn't have 30,000 people, residents dying, and you wouldn't have 469 social care workers dying. That's not a protective ring. That is allowing a secondary phase of this pandemic to run riot through care homes. And you're the care minister.
I really want to answer your question, so just give me a moment, because I'm absolutely and your viewers will have family members who live in care homes or someone work in care homes themselves. So this is really important. We have really stepped up to support care homes, support local authorities to support the care homes in their area. I won't pretend for a moment that it hasn't been incredibly hard, that we all know that those who are older and those who are frail, for instance, those living at care homes, are most at risk from this virus. But that's why we have put so much in place. We've got £1.3 billion of money to care homes.
But my point, sorry to interrupt you, but my point was not what you've put in place now, but what you didn't put in place back in the first wave when so many of these deaths occurred. You tweeted after Boris Johnson revealed that 100,000 people have now died from COVID in this country, which is currently the worst death rate in the world and one of the worst death tolls in the world. You tweeted, truly devastating. There will be a time to remember and reflect. We are already learning lessons. As the Care Minister, what lessons have you learned about how to stop people dying in care homes that you're now implementing to prevent that you didn't do back in March, April?
I mean, you're absolutely right. So, for instance, an example that we didn't know back then was about the asymptomatic transmission of the virus and that people could be infectious even if they didn't have symptoms. We also didn't know that you could test people then. We thought that the test only worked if you have symptoms. Now what we know is that the test can pick up people whether or not they have symptoms. That's why since the summer, we've had huge amounts of testing going on into care homes. We've got over 19 million tests into care homes.
But you accept then that the failure to understand the asymptomatic issue and the failure to have a proper testing system in place did actually contribute to vast numbers of people dying in care homes. You accept that now, do you?
I wish we had known back then that you could be asymptomatic and that you could be infectious. And, you know, of course, I wish that we'd had more testing. But, you know, the fact is we've now tested more people and got more tests out to care homes than, for instance, Canada has used to test its whole population. We have had this massive testing effort going on in care homes. As we're talking about today, we have put care home residents and workforce right at the front of the queue for vaccinations because we know they're at greatest risk. They're the ones we most want.
What do you say to the families? What do you say to the families of the people who lost their elderly relatives because you didn't know those two things? You didn't have the testing system and you didn't know that asymptomatic transmission existed.
Oh, goodness, Piers, of course, I hate the fact that we've seen so many lives lost. I know, and you talk about the statistics, but I know every single person who's died would be somebody's mother or father, their brother or sister. I know that they have friends and family who are mourning. I know how tough it's been for the care workers who've been there day in, day out at the front line, looking after people and having to look after people very sadly die. I mean, that's why, as I was saying, we have been trying to do so much to protect care homes, particularly as we've learned, as I mentioned, the money to support extra staffing, the testing that we get free PPE.
I'm glad you're doing the right thing now, Minister. Well. I'm glad you're doing the right thing now. I just think it would be actually prudent of the government, led by the Prime Minister and Health Secretary, to stop pretending that you put all this in place back in March, April last year when tens of thousands of people died in care homes, because that's simply not true. And you, by your own admission now, have conceded that you made terrible mistakes as a government, and that's why so many people died in the care homes. And so pretending that somehow there was a protective ring around care homes, I'm afraid is simply untrue, isn't it?
I really don't accept any kind of protect. What I said is, we have learnt things that we didn't know, that nobody knew in the world about this virus. It was a new virus. I mean, this time last year, it was actually before as the care minister, and we were just hearing about this virus over in China. So of course we have learnt about it, and of course as we've learnt, we've taken steps to do exactly that, to protect the most vulnerable, to try and keep COVID from even getting into care homes is our best defence against them. And now we have the vaccine that we put them right at the front of the queue for.